Hi everyone, my name's Michelle, my Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. How is everyone doing? I missed you last week. I was at Stitch in London having the most fabulous time, and I've got lots and lots of things to share with you and show you from Stitch in London. But one of my table mates was Kelly from Rise, and then when I saw this jumper, it reminded me of one of her new charts called Foul Play. I'll put a picture of it up on the top. So Kelly, I bought this jumper just because I liked your chart. Right, I'm going to start off with the big news that lots and lots of you have been waiting to hear. I think I've received more messages, nudges about this chart than anything else I've ever released. And it is about this one, birds of a feather circled together. So this is the model. This is stitched on 36 count linen by Weeks Dye Works, in the colour linen, if that makes sense. And I have just done the circle, and I've chosen my colours from the back. Whoops. And this is the original. And as you can see, the colours from the front are quite different. I'm going to see if I can get a decent screenshot on this one. The chart is now available in my Etsy store, and this is what you're going to get. So the chart is actually 24 sides long. Now, why is it 24 sides long, I hear you ask? You have got basically two separate publications almost within the same thing. So you have got the chart for the front, and you've got the chart for the back, but they're together. You just have to choose which pages you want to print from. For each chart, you have got a colour version. You have got a colour version on a single page. For those people doing digital, don't try and read it if you're not. You've got a black and white chart and a black and white chart on each page. So you've got that for the front and for the back. Now I've popped the black and white ones in because we were having a conversation on the table at Stitch in London, and I don't think I'd appreciated how many people perhaps really aren't big fans of colour charts. I really like them because it just gives me that extra clue as to what I'm supposed to be doing. But a lot of people apparently really like black and white charts too. So I've added two. I've added the colour and the black and white. You just print off what you like. You've got the colourway there for the front. Now the colourway for the front is that is the front, isn't it? Yes, it is the front. The colourway for the front, you've got still the same sort of strong colours in the oranges and the greens and the browns, but you've got a lot more muted colours kind of in the background, so it's quite a bit more contrasty. I would think you've got some really sort of bright bold colours that have stayed, and you've got some much more muted colours, whereas the one for the back is kind of more homogenous. They're kind of more in the same sort of hue, level of brightness. Roz Clark gonna kill me for getting the term wrong, but they're kind of about the same brightness. There's no much brighter and much more muted. Roz, please tell me what I'm saying wrong. And just this afternoon, actually, when I released it, Vicky Clayton has done two silk packs, one for the front, one for the back. A lady messaged me and she said that she'd asked Vicky to do some silk packs. Did I mind? So I said, no, not at all, not at all. People love Vicky's silks. I'm very happy to support her and to for her to sell those. I'm only selling the chart. People stitch it in whatever they like. And so she's produced two silk packs, one for the back and one for the front, and I'll put those up so you can see what they look like, so you can see whether you might fancy that. So one chart pack, you choose what you want to stitch, whether you want to stitch from the back or whether you want to stitch from the front. I'm so glad to have that out in the wide world. It's been on my mind for a little while to do. This week at work has been so busy. Obviously I was sort of slightly on the back foot from being away at the weekend, but I just feel like I've marked till gone 11 o'clock every night, and I've got up at sort of 5 o'clock most mornings to to do more schoolwork. So it feels like everything just came together this week. I had a lot to do, and then so when I woke up this morning I was like, right, my one priority is to get that chart done and get it sorted and get it out into the wide world. And so it's there for you now. Right, now I released another one the week before last, and the one that I released was Maria Fosket, the Duck Jugglers. Oh, let's try and sit on my knee. And I released my conversion or my stitch on this glass washboard, which is ridged on the back. It's smooth on the front and ridged on the back. Now, a lot of people really did like this finish, and a lot of people hadn't seen the glass washboard before. I'm not sure it's an entirely British thing, but I did have a lot of American viewers say that they'd not seen the glass ones before. But then also at Stitch in London, I had a lot of British viewers saying that they hadn't seen a glass one before. So yeah, I'm not sure where they come from, but they are out there and you can get them. And I think I said in my last video, can I leave that there without it falling down? Possibly quite rashly, excuse me, that I didn't really know much about Maria Fosket, and that was a total lie. I did know about Maria Fosket. It's just a while since I'd done the research for her, and I'd quite forgotten what I'd found. So when you, or if you choose to get Maria Fosket, this is what it will look like. This is a colour chart. I haven't put a black and white one in there because I'd done that before the weekend, but if you were desperate for a black and white version, please just message me and I'll ping you one over. So Maria Fosket, let me tell you about Maria. So she was born on the 28th of March in Berkhamsted to William, a carpenter, and Hannah, whose maiden name was Horn, and she was the eldest of 8 children. Most of her siblings seem to have lived to a good age, but I can't find anything more about Maria. I can't find a marriage record, I can't find a death certificate or death record. So I really don't know what happened to her after 1851, which is the last point she kind of appears in the census. By 1851, her father is now described as a rough carpenter. So that's not necessary to say that he wasn't skilled, but at that point in time, he was working in what would be termed rough carpentry. So the building of crates and things like that, and other agricultural carpentry. So not fine carpentry, not cabinet making, anything like that. Low paid, perhaps the lower end of the profession. She is 19 at this point in time, and she's described in the records as a platter. Plaiter, platter. Now, there was lots and lots of platters in lots of the families where Maria was living. And I actually had to scroll through the census records, 4 or 5 pages, until I got to a record keeper whose handwriting I could read to work out that it said platter. And there's a great website which has got all of the jobs that you might find listed in the census that we don't actually have anymore, and it explains what they are. And a platter means a straw platter, so it's basically like a little cottage industry that women would do reasonably seasonally, obviously with the harvest, and they would plait straw for bonnets, for hats, for what else did it say? Bonnets and hats, I remember, other decorative items. So yes, you've got your little straw corn dollies and things like that, but anything that could be made out of straw, of that type. And so that's what they did. It was a low income, long days, the sort of job that could be done at home whilst taking care of other sort of family members, plus all the duties of living at home, cooking, cleaning, washing, all of those sorts of things. So lots and lots of the women in this area, which was a highly agricultural area, did that alongside their domestic roles to bring in a few extra pennies. So I think it's fairly obvious to see that there wasn't a lot of money, and probably not high literacy levels when it comes to Maria. The fabric is really quite a coarse fabric. It's stitched in sort of lots of little bits of wool, plus other, a couple of other little bits and bobs. So it's kind of a do and mend sampler. It's what they had. It's what they had to stitch with. But I just love the playfulness and the bright colours in this sampler. I would love to see this sampler on 56 count or 46 count. I think she would be so beautiful. Oh, sorry, try not to drop it. What else other information have I given you? I've given you the hymn where the "You Little Flock Whom Jesus Feeds" comes from. You've got the threads, Classic Colourworks, Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Arts, but also a DMC conversion if you would like to stitch that. So there we go. She was stitched on 32 count with 2 strands, and somebody had asked me, and I can't quite remember where I'd read it, what this was. This is 36 count with 1 strand. So both of those are available in my Etsy shop now. Hey! Next in line, I promise, is the deer. I've had quite a lot of messages about the deer as well, and a few people asking at the Stitch in London weekend, where are the deer? What happened to those deer? I was like, they're in the pipeline, they're in the pipeline, don't worry. Right, let's have a little look and see what I have been stitching this week. I haven't done a huge amount of stitching because school's been crazy busy, but I've got a bit to show you from the last 2 weeks. Now, the one thing I've been working on is in this lovely Ness craft room bag that I won at Stitch in London last year, and funnily enough, it has a Halloween project in it. But the reason it's in this bag is because I started it at Stitch in London last year, and it's Ink Circles Another Year Creeps By. So let's see. Oh, that's glary. Let's take it out. So there we go. Ink Circles Another Year Creeps By. And it's 12 sort of little patches that you can stitch. You can stitch them separately if you want to, and they've all got kind of little Halloween-y quirks to them. So this one's got kind of syringes, coffins, eyeballs, skulls. It's one of those things that you look at it and if you just glance, you don't notice, but if you really look at it, it's got so much detail in, and I'm loving stitching it. I'd only partly done that one last time. Why that one, you ask? Because I'd mistakenly thought it was that one. So this one is up here for me, but I don't think it makes any difference. I'm using the called for threads, which are in a lovely kind of Halloween palette. The black is Black Coffee by Classic Colourworks, and I'd wanted to get some more from Rachel the Talking Dog Stitcher, and it was about the only colour she didn't have last week. She had a lovely selection of loads and loads of things, but she didn't have Black Coffee. So that's the palette, and I'm stitching it on a piece of Fox and Rabbit called Sea Fog from the Fabric of the Month. If you're in the Fabric of the Month, I have just had a notification that it is in the UK, I think. So I don't know, I'm hastily trying to iron this out. So I hadn't finished the first one, but I've now finished the first one and started the second one. And if I hold it too close, it blows it out, but it's a really nice, see if I can see on, sort of greeny, pale greeny blue. It's not as pale as the camera's showing. So 36 count on 1 strand is lovely. And I just had the hankering to stitch on this in the week before Stitch in London, thinking I'll take it to Stitch in London because that's where I started it last year, and I've probably got another 5 or 6 Stitch in Londons before I finish it. But I didn't actually work on this at all in Stitch in London because I decided that I wanted to have another new start for Stitch London. And I decided to start something, sorry, if I don't put this away, it'll all get all over the place. There we go. Pop that on the decided to start something that I bought at the Big Stitch. And this is called the Grow Mill Sampler. And it's an old one. It's a hand-drawn chart by Threads Through Time. And this is a sampler in the collection of Grow Mill in Hinsdale, Illinois. And they think it's either the work of Mary Affleck or Mary Howard Little. So it's one of those two. You can see the picture, what a likeness it is. Like, it was one of those old ones that came with actual photographs. So this is the one that was originally on the front. That's what it'll look like. But these are the two of the original sampler. So this is the front of the original sampler, and this is the back of the original sampler. So I am using a piece of 36 count smoky sandstone by Northumberland Sampler House, which is rapidly becoming one of my absolute favourites to stitch on. And what I did at Stitch London was I ran the border all the way around and realised it wasn't quite as big as I thought it was going to be. So I ran all the border so I know that it's going to fit and meet, which was an absolute miracle, trying to run that all the way around, sitting on such a lovely chatty table. I'll tell you all about those in a minute. And then I have got, let's give you a close up of the bottom, some of the sort of pretty much to the middle done there, which I think is going to be really, really lovely. And I can't wait. I think I'm going to work my way around the big bouquet of flowers and then leave that for last. It came with DMC, and I put my DMC onto some floss fish which came from one of my table mates. Now let me just make sure that I'm going to give you her information correctly. Oh dear. Let me make sure I'm going to give it correctly. Where are we? From Caroline Stitch Corner. There we go. So they are printed by her husband, I think she said, and those are all the DMCs that came with it. It's meant to be stitched on 30 count over two strands over two, and there's some blending to be done because this also came with it. This is the little card. There's some blending to be done. I really didn't fancy stitching it with two strands, so what I did was I went and saw Rachel the Talking Dog Stitcher, and I managed to find 2 over dyes which I thought were good combinations for the 2 sets of threads that you were supposed to mix. So Almost Auburn was supposed to be a sort of tan brown with a bit of pink in it, and the Little Sprout was a couple of different greens mixed together. So I've gone for those instead, just so that I can do 1 strand rather than doing 2 strands, because I'm loving 1 strand at the moment. More about that later. I've always enjoyed 1 strand, but I found 2 strands a little bit less enjoyable just recently. And the last thing that I worked on was from Caterpillar CrossStitch, which is their Holly Jolly Kitchen SAL. Now they graciously gifted me the Holly Jolly Kitchen SAL, and I had started on the fabric that they gave, and I showed you that last week, and then when I came to stitch on it again, I just couldn't, absolutely nothing to do with their threads or chart or fabric, I just couldn't get my white thread in 2 strands to lay straight. And you know what it's like, it is the perennial problem, 2 strands of white thread, trying to get them to lay straight and look nice. So I decided to restart because I'm already three parts in. So I decided to make a restart, and I've restarted it on some 36 count Fox and Rabbit in the colour Lizard, which again was a fabric of the month, and I don't know whether this is one that's in their collection now. And I started in the top corner, which is where we are now, and the house fits sort of just there. So this is from parts 2 and 3. We've got loads of kind of weird shadow on that one. There we go. So this is from parts 2 and 3. And I'm just loving stitching with one strand. It's bright, it's colourful, it looks really great on this fabric, and I can do it with one strand. So the name of my game is to catch up, back up to where I should be on this sal, because it just looks brilliant. And then there's a bit more down here, and then I'm trying to get up here. There's a set of weighing scales, then there's a great pink mixer, sort of like an old-fashioned mixer. And like down here there's a pudding bowl, one of those blue and white Cornish ware striped ones down here, and then there's the gingerbread house. So I'm dying to get back up to where I need to be, and those are the threads that came with it. So at the moment, for me, 36 count, one strand all the way is where my jam is at the moment. And that, I think, if I'm right, is all of my stitching that I have done this week. So the rest is just showing you lots of lovely good things that came from Stitch London, a few other little bits and pieces. Yes. Now, I have bought a couple more samplers recently, and I will share those with you, but not today. I'm going to keep those. I need to spread them out, really. I need to spread them out. But there's just been several really good ones come up recently, so I couldn't not. You're going to love them. So this is available now, and my copy from Laurie came in the post the other day. So this is the new CrossStitch Planner for 2025. I've got my old one here that I've loved using, and I actually took it to Stitch London. I got people to sign who was on my table, because I'm terrible at sort of getting that done and remembering. So I've used this all the way through the year, and this one had a chart sort of every month. This one has got charts in it, not every month, but I think they're slightly bigger charts than they were before. So let me just show you what you get. I do like the layout of this. So you obviously get your month at a glance there, which is where you can fill in everything that you've stitched during the day. Then you get a dotty page. Now, being a scientist, my brain loves a dotty page. I don't know why. And then you've got notes, sals, challenges and finishes to fill out there. And you've basically got that for all of 12 months. And then at the back, this time, she has given us more notes pages, which I really like. Given us more whip pages, which I really like. And then we've got stitchy pages for retreats, plans, all that sort of stuff. Stitchy kindness, we can't see that very well, stitchy kindness. So just a bit more room to fill things in. So let me see if I can show you the charts. My one is right at the back. This was my one, Maggie, and it's a little needle book with shiny things written on the back. So that was my one. Let me see who else we've got. There's one by Romy's Creations, which I can't show you because it hasn't got a picture with it. It's got a chart, see, but it's not got a picture with it. There is one by Cosford Rise, Kelly, and it's not a chicken, but it's hydrangeas, beautiful hydrangeas. And then we've also got Whilst Iris Naps, Crowns Galore. Now, if I put something over there, I can show you how she's done it. So it looks brilliant. It looks really good. And it's stitched by Christina in Roxy Floss called Yonder, which is a beautiful blue. So those are your charts in here. Patchwork Rabbit were doing a pre-order. I'm not sure if it's still open for the pre-order. If not, I'll put Laurie's contact details in separately, and you can message her and see where the best place to get it from is. See whether anybody else in the UK is stocking it. Right, let's do, oh, I forgot to say, it comes with stickers. Comes with stickers. So Whip Go, New Start, not enough of those. FFO, too many of those. Sal, Goals, and a little frog. Luckily there's only one of those. Right, let's have a look at the freebie. This is by Bent Creek, and it's a lovely little design, and I don't think it would take too long to stitch up actually. It's called, what's it called? Joy, Surrounded by Joy. And it's just this lovely little Christmas cushion which says Joy on it, but I love the little cardinal, and I love the way that they've created texture on that wreath by using a combination of straight stitches and French knots, but you could use beads. You could definitely use beads. So that's the freebie for today. Right, I can move those. I can move those. Now, I do have another sal to start, and in fact I'm late to the party for this one because it has already started. So Historic Sampler Company, and I met the ladies from Historic Sampler Company at Stitch London on Sunday. They came along on Sunday and said hello, and they had very kindly sent me their advent calendar, and in the advent calendar is this to start on October the 14th. So I couldn't tell you what happened to October the 14th. It was a blur of marking, I think, on October the 14th. So I've got this to start, and it's called, what is it called? Robin Christmas Patchwork. So I think the idea is that this is going to keep us busy up until December, if not part of December. So these are our threads here. I've just lost the little needle. There we go. So these are the threads. Lots of greens, whites, yellows, and this is the fabric that it came with, which I think, if I remember correctly, is a 32 count. But do you see what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I might use the other bit of this and do it over one, not over one, do it one thread, because that's my jam at the moment, and the fabric's pretty similar. So I think I'm going to do mine on this fabric, just because that's where my head is at the moment. Does anybody else, does that happen to anyone else? You just kind of go through phases of having your particular sweet spot and your particular jam. Right, let's do some Stitch in London chatter before I show you some of my other purchases. So I had a fabulous table. Now again, I'm gonna insult my notes because I have got a brain like a menopausal sieve at the minute. Right, so lovely lady Freya, Susan I've met before, who is the Blue Crab Stitcher. I'll put all of my table mates information down below because they are some great folks. Melanie, I've met Melanie on lots and lots of occasions, and she is just the sweetest lady. She's just the sweetest lady. She goes to quite a lot of retreats, well, ones that I've been to as well. I'm sure she goes to others. And she's bought me before some of these biscuits, Lottie Shaw's biscuits. Now, those eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that there is already a gap here, because my favourite biscuits in the world, and I thank Melanie for introducing me to these, is the Lottie Shaw's chocolate biscuits. And so we can see by their absence how delicious they actually were. There were a couple of mornings last week that I got into my work husband's car eating one of those Lottie Shaw chocolate biscuits, because it's been a bit of a week. An idiot crashed into Chris and might potentially have written our other car off. by going too fast, slipping on some leaves, and Chris was stood still and he just bashed into him and might have bent the car beyond all reasonable repair, even though it doesn't look that bad. But there we go. So I've got left the oatmeal and raisin and the ginger parkin. Now I know Chris likes the ginger parkin ones, so I'm going to leave those for him. I'll get to these ones. But yeah, Lottie Shaw's chocolate biscuits. If you want a really superb biscuit, go for those. Caroline Stitch Corner, and she's got a YouTube channel and Instagram. And a lady called Fanny who is at CrossStitch Couture and the Soul Stitchers on FlossTube. She's lovely lady. She's got so many good stories and she's such a hoot. And then obviously Kelly from Cosford Rise. Hence, when I saw this jumper, I knew that I had to wear it tonight because of Kelly from Cosford Rise. Just the loveliest table. We had a table photo and it was just, oh, perfect. And I'm sure those of you who've been to retreats will know when you get a table who just kind of clicks together, it was really lovely. Sorry. And then obviously, as all my normal lovely ladies there as well, Marie, because she was organising it, she had to be there. Perfectly organised as usual. Ruthie from Crow's Feet Stitching, Chloe, who is Girl with the Gavel Stitches, Linda Haddon, who is the supremo brains behind the Sampler Guild. I'm sure I'm missing loads of people out as well. Sherry, just so Sherry was there. Turtle Day Stitches, Talking Dog Stitchery. I'm missing people out now. So yeah, just an amazing crowd, I saw so many, and it was a real treat for me, so many of my designs stitched. And actually Sherry had got one back from Atelier Framing that was mine. She'd got 2 stitches back. One of them was Maud Mary Dodrell. And Rachel, Talking Dog Stitcher, had got back, she's Nessie Mitchell to me, but she changed the name to commemorate a lady in her family. And she was telling me the story of this lady, and oh my God, it breaks your heart. She sounds like such a matriarch, such a fabulous lady. So I'm so proud to see her name on that sampler. I've got some photos, so I'll pop some up there. Yeah, it was a Be Not a Dunce over 56 count. Oh my God, it was beautiful. Yeah, just if you're looking for a really good retreat, Stitch in London is it, because it's just got such a lovely mix of people that's, you know, it's perfect. Right, let me show you a few table gifts. So my lovely mug came from Kelly from Cosford Rise, and it was filled with all sorts of little goodies. Now, I even went around writing the names on people on the bags. This, I believe, was from Freya. She's got a nice little... Oh yeah, I wrote the name right. Nice little sort of needle, little purse. You can keep little bits and bobs in, and a couple of threads in there. Oops, let's try and... I won't zip that back up, because what I'll do is I'll end up zipping the thread in it. And then this was from Fanny, and she has made everybody a little pumpkin in some lovely fabric. A few sweeties. Now I love French sweeties and sweeties from other countries. They were my favourite. Susan the Blue Crab Stitcher had bought some over. There was all sorts of other ones there available. And then some extra buttons and some little floss drops, some French floss drops, because Fanny is French. All of those, put those back in there. And then we had all sorts of other things. What else have we got in here? This was from Susan, who was the Blue Crab Stitcher. Now it was presented much more nicely than I've got it here. So there's a little sort of mug rug, but I like it. It's got these little pockets in it, and I'm like, oh, I could sort of poke all sorts of little things in there. Some teas, some stickers, which I'm going to be putting into my new planner. Now these were delicious. caramel cowtails and these as well, which is essentially the same thing, just in a different shape, but they were delicious. And also some utterly smooth hand cream. Oh, what else have we got in here? This was from Melanie. Now Melanie always does beautiful handmade things, so she'd given everybody a little strawberry. It's got fluff on it. There we go. And she'd made waxes for everybody. So beeswax waxes. Oh, love it. Love it. It doesn't really smell very much, but what smell is there of beeswax I love. Yeah, so beeswax doesn't have a strong smell, but I love the smell it does have. What else have I got in my bag? This was from Caroline's CrossStitch. No, not Caroline's CrossStitch, Caroline's Stitch Corner. And I've tied the little thing up so I can't get it open. Oh, Michelle, you've done a good job there. So we had the floss fish, which I put to good use immediately, and some lovely laces and trims. And she's from Austria, so I believe all these things came from Austria, with lots and lots of lovely little vintage, there we go, vintage buttons as well to adorn our projects. Oh gosh, what else did we have? Bear with. Sarah gave me some of these, so me Sarah, some little floss drops as well. Always love floss drops. And then this was the pack from Marie for Stitch in London. So we had a lovely little chart from Yaz, some Stitch in London stickers, a lovely little ring bling. Now Yaz had produced some other charts that you could buy with Stitch in London designs on, and that's one of the things that is on there. And lovely little thread keep. And this I thought was good. Even though I didn't use it, I thought it was really good. It's just a sort of a note page of patterns that you've seen, you know, as you go around, you always find all these fabulous patterns that other people are stitching, things you want to remember, people you met, who was at your table. I thought that was just a really nice little memento. I picked this up from the Freebie table. So this is Martha Morris from Mill on the Floss. Ooh, that was a big old crash. Sounds like the fairy elephant's out of bed. I particularly like this bottom section. I'm not sure I would ever maybe do that whole load of over one, because I bet that's over one. But I really like this middle bit, this bottom bit here. I like this top bit too. I was given this at the table as well. This is from Susan the Blue Crab Stitcher. So she had a few that she bought for the Freebie table, and she kindly, in fact a couple of us passed around our freebies that we bought around the table first before we put them on the main table, just to see if anybody on our table wanted them. So that is a 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers called About to Take Wing. So that's a lovely little bird which could become a drum. And I also bought this from Atelier Frames. So she had a few made up frames for sale, and you know, love me a big framed or a big bordered black frame. Right, what else have I got to show you? A couple more things. My threads came from Lakeside. I can't have too many more months to go because I am on to S now. So we've got Seashelly, Secondhand Rose, Secret Garden. Now I've had a few people comment that they quite like seeing these threads because got a message coming through, because particularly in the UK we can't always see things that well before we buy them. So they said that they really enjoyed actually seeing the colours. Shabby Sheep, Smoke, which is a beautiful sort of bluey purple, Shamrock, what else have we got here? Snips and Snails, Shrimp Cocktail, that's a perfect name for that one, Snowball, and Spinach. Spinach is one of my favourite greens actually. It's got lots and lots of colour changes in it. And I have also got this. Now I saw this randomly on eBay. It's not out of print or anything, you can get it from 123 Stitch, but the Scarlet Letter charts are more difficult for us to get over in the UK. And I saw this, it's called a Hornbook Bestiary. And I really, really liked it. All those kind of crazy animals there. Hannah brought her peacock badger. Beautiful. She's just got the bottom section to do, and oh my god, I wanted to run away with it. It was so beautiful. And she said it's kept her fully entertained for pretty much a year in doing it. So yes, I think if I ever did it, I'd have to do it on dark green fabric. I'm not sure I could do all that filling. But having said that, I've bought a chart with a lot of dark green filling, but not as much. I love that. The only trouble is, I've got no worries about showing you this chart. I mean, look, if you can stitch from that, you're a better person than I am, because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stitch from it up close. Right, this is your warning, folks. The Christmas tins are in at Marks and Spencer's. Melanie and I were talking about it, and she said she didn't know whether they were in, and there happened to be Marks and Spencer's in Watford, just up the road. So when I went to go and get my lunch, I thought, I'll just take a look in Marks and Spencer's and see if they've got them. So they had a range of different biscuits in, which are now out. They're not gone, but they're out. And I don't know whether you'll be able to see if I put the light on or not. It's probably too bright in here. Yeah, too bright for you to see the lights. So there's this kind of pinky one. And there's also a purpley one that is similar. Now, do I need two so similar? Yes, I do, quite frankly, because last year there were two quite similar ones and I didn't get one of them, and I can't get it, which is annoying because I really wanted it. So yes, I needed both of those. And then I also needed the little tea shop one. So those two had biscuits in, this one had tea in. And they've all got little, oh, you can see that one a bit better. You can see the lights on that one a bit better. They all light up. How cute are they? How cute are they? So yes, you need to go and get your Marks and Spencer's Christmas tins. That's it from me. A little bit longer, a little bit more waffly. Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed your time with me. Next week, I promise I'll show you maybe two of the samplers that I've acquired recently. Enjoy your stitching. I hope you love the circle of birds. Stay classy, stitchers.